that's where we're at now. So I've got the day off today. The boss said that I needed to stay home and convinced me that I could. And so here I am. I've got the whole day today. So I'm going to start putting this back together. I'm going to get the cover back on. I've got to put studs back into the water pump pulley, get the pulley on the water pump, get the pulley on the crank shaft, and then put the belts back on. And let's see, get the alternator pushed back up too, because I had to move that. Anyways, get all that put back together, and then once that's all back together, then it'll be time to start fitting our brand new radiator, this beauty right here. So I'll get that fit in. I've got new hoses to go on, put water in it, all that stuff, and get it to a point where it's something that I can kick on and run for a little bit longer. Just make sure that everything is good. Everything's set and solid and good. So I've got my fire going. It's warming up in here. I actually did a pre-warm because I was up at 5 this morning. Well, I was up a lot last night because I was just stewing over this whole thing, but ended up getting out of bed about 5:30. And about 6:30, that's when I came out to do the compression test. Just like, I've got to check this off the list. And so I already had a fire going and kind of pre-warmed in here, so it's feeling pretty good. But it died out while I went in and had breakfast and kissed the wife and stuff like that. So anyways, we're getting warmed up, and we're gonna hit it and see what we can make happen today. Okay, I've got the cover on. I've got the pulley wheel put on the water pump, and belts on, the alternator tensioned again, so everything looks good there. So now it's time to move on to hoses. I went ahead and bought new hoses just throughout because I knew I'd be in this deep, so why not? I'll pull these ones, I'll put these ones on and then pull the old ones to be spares, basically. And I went with this fancy that almost looked a little small. Anyways, went with this fancy silicone style orange belts to kind of match Sami, but also I figured that, you know, that JDM stuff adds horsepower, so I figured each belt I put on is probably going to add, like, I don't know, 2-3 horsepower at least. So that'll probably put us up to like 75 horsepower versus 65 horsepower. So pretty awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking those off, put these on, and then we'll be ready to stick the radiator in and see how that goes. Well, I won't be keeping that hose as a spare. I ended up having to literally cut it off. I don't know what this means. I don't know if you can see all that black, kind of rusty, I don't know what that's in there, but I'm sure it's not good. So, okay, well, I've got that cleaned off, or I got this out. I need to clean off the spouts, outputs, I don't know what you call them. Clean those off, and then it should be fairly simple to get the new hose on. I will tell you, I am happy that I can do this here in my shop versus out in the hills, because that would have been an absolute nightmare trying to fix a hose or replace this hose out in the hills. So we'll keep at it. Okay, I think we're ready to fire it up and let it cycle and run for a little bit. Oh, what do you think of my shirt? Nice tie-dye. Yeah, that's a homemade job. We did that as a family activity. It was actually the kit was a gift from my sister for Christmas, so it was pretty fun to put these together and do them. So anyways, I think what my plan is I'm going to fill this with water first. Fill it with water, let it cycle, let the thermostat open and that whole deal, and then flush it. Because of that gray or that black gunk that I kind of found on those hoses and stuff, I've got a feeling that there might just be junk in here that needs to be just completely flushed out. So that's the plan, is I'm going to go ahead and take this, fill it up with water, let it cycle, let it run for a little while, let the fan kick on and off, that kind of a deal, come up to temperature, just kind of watch everything closely, and cross my fingers that hopefully I fixed things and didn't make more problems, or didn't fix them fully. And then we'll kind of take it from there. In fact, it'll probably be lunchtime at that point, and I'll be ready to eat. It's past lunchtime. I've just been lost in my work here. So yeah, we're gonna do that, let it flush out, and then we'll kind of take it from there. Well, so far everything's looking good. The thermostat hasn't opened up yet. We're starting to build some heat in there. So it's going to take a few more minutes for that to open up and everything to kind of cycle. So right now that looks really bad, but that's just the water. I filled it up to the tippy top. Kind of keeping an eye on everything else, and so far things are looking pretty good. All right, so that thermostat opened up, but I'm wondering if it opened up and as soon as it did and that cool water came in, close back down, because I just topped that off again and I heard the idle change, which makes me think that there's a temperature change. Right now everything's still really cool. I just checked, and right up here by the thermostat housing it was like 80 degrees. So we're gonna give it a little bit longer here. All right, you can see bubbles kind of burping out, a little bit of steam. Yeah, 187, so that thermostat is open now. So I think fairly soon we ought to get that E-fan will be kicking on. Let's see what the temperature inside here is saying. I don't know if you can see that there. Get out of the glare. So that's rising now, and we'll see if we can't get to a point where that E-fan kicks on. And I just wanted the cycle open for a while. See if we can kind of break loose any gunk or anything like that, and then I'll take that bottom hose off and flush it out. Well, I think I'm claiming that a success. I just pulled it out here. I'm gonna let it cool down, and then once it's cooled down, I'm gonna open up that bottom radiator hose and drain out all the fluid that's in it. I might do that twice, we'll see. So I'm seeing what, 4 problems so far. First of all, where that probe goes in, I've noticed a little bit of a drip, but it's gotten better as the hose has gotten hotter, so that might kind of seal itself. Online it said that it would. Second thing is this hose right here is kind of rubbing right against that, I guess it's a motor mount. So I'm gonna try and pivot this piece to see if it'll pull away from there. So see if we can't take care of that. So that's 1, 2, let's see. Oh yeah, no, that's 1, 2, 3. Third cap's a little too tall, so it's one to hit on the hood. I don't think that'll be an issue. Fourth problem is the wiring in this thing is an absolute mess, and a lot of it's my fault. I need to do something about that wiring. It's just, in fact, when I kicked on the when I was waiting for the fan to kick on, I realized that the hot that I had to a switch wasn't working anymore, come loose at some point. I don't know, it's just a nightmare. So I need to solve that issue, but I'm hungry, so I'm gonna call it lunch break right now, and I'll probably sweep all this stuff out, play with Toner for a minute, because she really is anxious to have some fun. Have some lunch, drain out that fluid, and top it off back again, and head on to the next thing. All right, we're back in the shop. We went ahead and got this drained out, and actually what came out actually looked pretty good. So I don't know if I'm not sure what to think on that, but I might go ahead and fill it up and then just run it for, you know, a couple months or something like that, flush it again, see if that makes a difference. But I think for now we're in pretty good shape. So I'm going to go ahead and fill it up with antifreeze coolant. and fix those, like the couple of hose issues that I was telling you about, the little bit of a leak. I think a different clamp might work. This one kind of stripped out a little bit when I was tightening it down to solve that, where the probe goes in. And then the other one, see if I can't get it tipped down a little bit so that it's not rubbing on that motor mount. So we're gonna start working on that stuff. So I'm pretty happy with how everything's at. I need to figure out wiring. I need to solve that rat's nest and get that cleaned up. But I've got the radiator filled up pretty good. It came up to temperature. The fan kicked on and cooled it down. So I'm gonna let it just sit like this for a minute. Meanwhile, I'm gonna swing around, and Toner wants to play with her ball here. You can just see her drooling, waiting for that thing to move. I'm gonna swing around and put the back end up on jack stands and take the pressure off the drivetrain, because I had a U-joint squeaking and I felt kind of another vibration at speed, so I think I might have some bad U-joints or something. But I just want to get all the pressure off of that, the weight off of it, just so that I can kind of get under there, feel everything, and see what I'm dealing with. So that's what I'm going to do next. Let that cool down. I'll probably top it off again with some coolant, and then bring it back up to temperature. Just let it kind of work out any bubbles, anything like that it needs to. And I think as far as that side of it's concerned, we're in pretty good shape. I do need to get some body bolts so that I can kind of put the front support back together and a few things like that. But I think as far as the fixes that I did, we're good. Okay, I want you to look at this. Let me know if you can spot what's wrong here. I'm gonna have you look right back here. That side's not too bad, but that side's not quite right. So, looks like I'll be doing at least one U-joint. I'll slide under there and take a look at the others and see what I can find. Alright, looks like all I've got really is that one U-joint that's just completely shot. Which I knew about. I felt it and heard it happening. There is one flange that there's a bolt that's a little bit loose on, but I'm going to have to pull that to get the drive line out to do that U-joint anyways, so not too bad. But it's time for me to head in. This was a really productive day. Thank you, honey, for giving me the day off. Okay, we're working on U-joints. I'm pretty sure that I got myself pulling the drive line out, but it appears I didn't turn it on to get the U-joint out. So I apologize for that. It wasn't pretty anyways, but it's out, and that's what it looks like. As you can see, pretty dang hammered. I knew that I was having issues. I heard it start squeaking on the trail, and so that's driving me home, getting me all the way home. And anyways, pretty rough shape. And I think probably the bearings on that side may have been going out for a while. I mean, it's hard to say how long it was like that, but that's where I really noticed it was on the last trail. I've got myself replacement, and I'm going to go ahead and order more. If I remember right, I've got two different size U-joints. I think the front, I don't remember, it takes this smaller size, and I about had a heart attack when I pulled them out and realized that, but then I remembered, oh yeah, I think I've got two different sizes. This is the size that I need. I'm going to order a couple more of these so I've got spares. But now it's just time to put it all back together. Well, looks like we're in good shape. I'm going to go ahead and get it off the jack stands and run it around a little bit. I just want the radiator to cycle again, the fan, all that stuff. I checked the level. Radiator was right up. I did end up moving this probe. It was in that line. It was dripping. There was a puddle in here when I came in. I cannot get that to seal up like they said you could online, so I just moved it into the radiator there. I think it'll be just fine. I'll probably have to readjust the thermostat just a little bit so it kicks on, or when it kicks on. That was fairly simple. So now it's just time to let it down, go for a test drive. Well, everything feels pretty good. You may have seen some steam or smoke come off of it. As my wife called it, she saw the smoke and was worried about that. And it's just the antifreeze where it's overflowed and leaked and stuff like that. That's still kind of burning off and steaming off, or at least I'm hoping that's all it is. So I'm just gonna give that a little bit and see if that all clears up. I'll keep checking levels and stuff as I go. The other thing is I did get in trouble for driving over the mound, which I'm supposed to move. I didn't think it would be a problem, but it was. So I need to take care of that. So you might see that in an upcoming video where I either borrow a tractor or get a buddy with a tractor to get that moved and cleaned up so I can fix the mistake that I just made. But anyways, I'm gonna call it a night for tonight, head in, and we'll join in on family night. Scratch all that. Let's just cut it out. I'm pretty sure I caught you, or I'm pretty sure I got you filming. Nope. I'm pretty sure